Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Today we got some exciting stuff going on. We're going to start a 3-part series delving into the intricate world of tattooing. So to start, we're going to talk about tattoo fundamentals, 3 of the most important ones: lining, shading, and coloring. And whether you're an aspiring artist or somebody who's just intrigued by the craft, it's essential to master this in order to create stunning tattoos. So let's jump right on into it. Okay guys, so on this 3-part series, we're going to start with lining, the foundation of most tattoo designs. Lining involves creating crisp, clean outlines that define the shape and form of tattoos. We'll explore different needle configurations, hand posturing, and techniques for achieving smooth, consistent lines. So to start, you're going to see me putting down a stencil on some fake skin. I normally don't use speed stick when I'm tattooing. I'll use stencil gel because it prevents cross-contamination, but speed stick works the best for me when it comes to putting stencils on fake skin. Okay, so lining lays the groundwork for most tattoo designs. To properly line a tattoo, you need the right tools and preparation. Ensure your tattoo machine is set up correctly and you're using clean, sterile needles. Selecting a needle configuration that suits the size and style of your design as well as what you are comfortable with is very important. Today I'm using a 14 round liner and a 7 round liner. I chose a 14 because they give nice bold lines, and a 7 because they give clean, precise lines. I really try to match the line thickness of the stencil with the size liners I'm using, because usually the tattoo is only as good as the stencil you make. Okay, so let's compare liners to like a Sharpie. You know how you can get a fine tip Sharpie and then you can get a thick one. So that's pretty much how I look at it. Or like a paintbrush. So you can get a very thin, fine detail paintbrush, or you can get a thick, bold paintbrush. Okay, next let's talk about machine speed and voltage. It's something that you have to feel. No one can tell you what speed to run your machine at. It's something you figure out with experience and time. For example, let's talk about hand speed, which is the speed you move your hand while tattooing. So if you move your hand slow, you would run your machine at a slower speed. And if you move your hand fast, you would run your machine at a higher speed. So while I'm lining, I tend to run my machine at a 7 because I don't necessarily move my hand slow, but I'm also not the fastest. 7 gives me a nice consistent flow of ink, and it also allows me to put lines in usually in one pass. Okay, proper hand posture and pressure control are essential for creating smooth and consistent lines. Hold the tattoo machine firmly but comfortably in your hand, resting lightly against the skin. Apply consistent pressure as you move the machine along the desired path, maintaining a steady pace to avoid wobbly lines. So when it comes to pressure, I listen for a specific hum the machine makes when it makes contact with the skin, as well as a specific vibration, different than the regular vibration you feel from a tattoo machine when it makes contact with the skin. Next, let's talk about skin. When tattooing, your needle should only penetrate about 1.5 to 2.5 millimeters deep, depending on if you're lining or shading. So about the depth of a penny. There are 2 common ways to do this. First is what a lot of people like to call riding the barrel, which is when you set your needle to stick out just the appropriate length and let the barrel drag across the skin, preventing you from going any deeper. I really dislike this method because it usually has excess ink flooding onto the skin, messing with the stencil. And as you'll come to learn, if you wipe off your stencil, you're screwed. You usually don't have to worry about that with practice skin because I usually let my stencils sit on for about 3 days before I actually tattoo them. But I still recommend using this method for beginners because it allows for a consistent and stable line with less room for error. Okay, so the second method, which is the one I usually use, I call it the pinky technique, or other people call it just, letting your needle hang, which is when you let your needle hang out way further than it should, and you use your pinky or your hand pretty much to create a barrier to keep you from going too deep. This is much harder to master, but for me, it allows a more precise line. I feel like it's because you can see where your needle is in the skin much easier. It also doesn't spit as much ink onto the skin, preserving your stencil. Of course, mastering lining takes time and practice, a lot of time and a lot of practice. Don't be afraid to experiment though, it's all a learning process. With a little dedication and perseverance, you'll soon develop the skills and confidence to create incredible tattoo art. Alright guys, there you have it, the fundamentals of lining. Stay tuned to the next 2 videos about shading and coloring. And remember to keep pushing forward. Practice makes perfect. Keep honing your skills and push the boundaries of what you can do as an artist. And until next time, thanks for watching Tattoos with Tay. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.